Look, with any business, it's to do with costs.
What's the cost of a life? How can you put a price on a life?
Drivers are being forced off the road and literally into the funeral parlours of this country.
Drivers are asked to do the wrong thing most of the time.
In the last decade, more than 2,500 people have died in heavy vehicle crashes.
Mr. Sawyer's brother, David, was killed by a fatigued driver in 2011. She believes companies are escaping liability.
We've been served a life sentence, but the company who knew the circumstances of what happened with that truck driver have never had any accountability put on them, and they should have.
Dwayne Bowering has lost two brothers in road accidents. The 45-year-old doesn't want to be next.
And I've seen too many times when he was going to work fatigued with only a few hours sleep, and the truck, cost him his life.
There's pressures on drivers to break everything, and companies to not do servicing. And
we've lost about 4 people lately to drugs. They got sacked, plain and simple, because it's not acceptable. Unfortunately, some drivers feel like they have to take those drugs to stay awake and meet their deadlines.
The last 30 odd years, it's just gone downhill.
We need a safe rate that can assure everyone, me and everyone else, that the drivers on the road and the trucks on the road are well maintained and safe.
Today, a Senate inquiry into road safety gave Dwayne and other members of the trucking industry a chance to speak out. And the Transport Workers Union says while there's a small portion of rogue drivers and companies cutting corners, it's those at the top of the chain that should be held accountable for the 330 truck-related deaths on roads each year.
Drivers delivering a strong message to Coles executives. The union says it's fed up with unreasonable expectations.
The group left in a bus and a van this morning, headed for Sydney, where they'll meet with around 700 other delegates to discuss the issue. But along the way, they'll stop at several locations.
Every Coles store between South Australia and New South Wales should be frightened, because we're on our way.
A dozen truckies and union officials were arrested today during a rowdy protest at a Coles supermarket in Parramatta.
Truckies were on foot in central Sydney today, bringing traffic to a standstill as they protested against the federal government's decision to do away with minimum pay rates.
Unions, drivers and family members of victims of accidents involving trucks are vowing to keep up their fight.
Hundreds of truckies roll into action across the country, calling for the reinstatement of so-called safe rates, which set a minimum pay rate for owner drivers. The rate was abandoned in April when the government abolished the wage-setting Road Safety Remuneration Tribunal. The Transport Workers Union, which led today's protest, says truck drivers are under pressure to accept low rates, compromising safety.
I've been known to stay out for 50, 55 hours. It's causing fatigue and it's causing a lot of accidents out there.
The victims like Sue Posnikides' brother John, who had broken down when he was hit by an out-of-control truck on a freeway.
He had no trailer brakes, was sleep deprived.
The drivers who are the least safe drivers are the ones that stay in the industry.
They drive unreasonable amount of hours.
We see over 2,500 deaths on our roads over the last 10 years. If this was happening in any other industry, any other sector, there'd be a national outrage. Just the general attitude of the whole industry, the culture, we need to change it.
Paying drivers per trip rather than per hour means most earn below minimum wage.
These truckies have vowed to continue the fight in the lead up to the election, with rallies like this happening all across the country.
The politicians don't own safe rates. We own it. Us truck drivers, we own safe rates. And if they think they've seen a convoy today, they haven't seen nothing, because we're not going anywhere.